How not to suck at being a libertarian. Number 1, GMOs. Okay. Now, genetically modified organics may or may not harm people. I know you're going to paste 5 billion things in my comment section about how they are harmful. Okay. Probably won't read them. But they are also developed in such a way that things can grow where things couldn't grow before. I mean, you can now grow growable food, edible food in Niger where there wasn't really any food. So it's a give and take kind of thing. Like, the thing itself is not evil. Here's the reality of everything in life. You need to research. You need to understand. The libertarians who say we need the FDA to start telling us what has a GMO and what doesn't, you're not a libertarian. Or at least your viewpoint in that area is not libertarian. That's like going to the tyrant and saying, please, could you just be, a tyrant with slightly better documentation skills? It's ridiculous. The FDA is not your friend. They're tyrants in and of themselves. They're murderers, in my view, because they're not in it to protect anyone. So going to them and saying, please save us from GMOs. Listen, if you have researched it and you've decided that the healthy choice for you is not to eat them, great. And if you think the healthy thing for your friends and family is not to eat them, educate them. But to take the call to arms that the government needs to come save us, and then in the next breath talk about being a libertarian, you have no idea what you're talking about. So I just wanted to point that out. It's okay for you to make the personal choice to dislike GMOs. It is not okay for you to be mad at the government for not labeling everything properly to take care of us. It's kind of ridiculous. The other point on that is that what we can be mad about is the idea that you can own an idea. Copyright laws are retarded. Truly, 100% retarded. Imagine if we were still paying royalty fees on for the inventor of the hammer or his family. The concept that after X amount of years it's okay to have an idea, that patent law, all of it, they're sore loser laws. What that is someone had a good idea, they put it together, they got rich, and then everyone looked at their idea and said, oh, I can do that too, or I can do that better, or more efficiently, or more affordably, or with another spin on it, and the person who made it originally goes, not fair, I don't want to lose. Yeah, that's really all that is they have enough money so they go buy favor from the government and buy a bunch of lawyers to give themselves extra rights over everyone else, and in most cases steal ideas from people using that same blunt object I call the government. It's like using a hammer to remove a splinter. The government is not an effective tool. It is an evil tool, and it is an act of force and aggression on another human being. So copyright is ridiculous. Patent law is ridiculous, and it's wrong. So, as a libertarian, you can say, screw you for what the GMOs are doing to the farmers. Because how dare they, okay, so there's seeds getting on their land too, and that's their whole issue. They need to learn how to protect their own property from whatever's going on. If you need to learn how to set up like some kind of wind barrier, that might be what you need to do. But as far as them saying, oh, because it blew on your land, we now own your shit, that shit's ridiculous. And it's only made possible by the government. So that's okay. So for rule number 1 of how not to suck at as a libertarian, don't ask the FDA to do shit for you, because there's nothing libertarian about asking any group with the force of arms to go enforce what you believe is right or wrong. It's ridiculous. Number 2, chemtrails. Really? I mean, okay, so I have this other theory. There are things that have gone on. If you listen to Alex Jones, you are at best a useful idiot. At best. Alex Jones, in my humble opinion, is either a useful idiot himself or working with the government to make people look crazy. It is not outside of what the CIA admits it has done in propaganda to sound off as a group, as a member of a group that they're going against, and say, hey, you know, here's the truth about this, this, and this, and everyone starts listening to the truth, and they're like, yeah, and then they're like, and plus this crazy thing, and that crazy thing, and that crazy thing, and then they've mixed all these lies with the truth, and then they paint everyone as people with tinfoil hats. And I'm telling you, if you truly think that the powers that be are trying to poison us all simultaneously, like, I don't know. I mean, you may as well take a pocket full of knives and throw it up in the air and say, I hope it hits someone I don't like. It makes no sense whatsoever. It really, really does. And I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, but again, you're making yourself sound crazy as a bag of rocks. So, that's definitely number 2, you know. And honestly, they're probably the biggest ones. Number 3, though, let's get honest. Like, the truth ceases to be the truth and ceases to matter when you are shoving it down people's throats. And what I mean by that is, no one cares what you have to say if you are jamming it down their throat. You have to ask yourself, are you trying to further a movement or mentally masturbate? Because, and okay, I've done it myself. I've gotten into debates where I am just more interested in seeing how fucking witty I can be in response to some idiot. And I get that little haha, I'm better than. And then some days, you know, I actually realize, wow, you know, that person and any one of their friends and family members is not going to ever come to my side of the street. And being collectivists, they're going to assume that since I label myself as a voluntarist, libertarian, either or. I've been a libertarian my whole life, and recently I've moved to voluntaries, but either way, I associate with those groups, and therefore everyone else in those groups must be a douchebag just like me. So I try not to be a douchebag today. I lose my cool, but I'll tell you what, when I lose my cool, I go back and I delete my comments. And the reason being that I don't want to just sound good in my own head and to the other people in the movement. There really is no point in all of us just hanging out together. You know, during the Ron Paul movement, there was so much talk about, you know, an idea whose time has come. Can't be stopped, right? It can. It can be stopped by idiots who decide it's more productive to go off and say, you leftist pig, you rhino, you this, you that. Stop with the names. For one, some of the ideals of individual freedom, individual liberty, we base that on the fact that, you know, we are individuals. So to take this collectivist view of other groups, that every progressive must be this and must believe that, and like the second we hear one buzzword from someone who makes a comment where they use a turn of phrase that most progressives use, we automatically assume what the rest of their views are. That's not the case with most people. They don't hold or parrot all of the views of other things. You have to find out what the person believes specifically before you start attacking it. Number 4, truthers. Okay. 9/11. Crazy stuff. Sandy Hook. I've seen some videos and I've got questions too. Okay. That being said, they're hot button emotional issues. And the answers are not well documented. Well, they are, but they're well documented on sites that are like truther.org and da-da-da, you know, these sites that are obviously not mainstream. And I don't trust the mainstream, and I know you guys don't trust the mainstream, but the people whose minds we're trying to change do trust the mainstream. And my point is, if you're going to try to argue the fact that government is evil and that it never works and that ours lies to us and does crazy things, it's more effective to argue that point with their own facts. Because you don't have to pick one of these crazy hot button topics that are going to shake people's worldviews and put up their walls of defense and make them really, really scared in order to have a conversation. And I understand for a lot of you guys that are, you know, probably my age, younger, etc. I'm 28. The difference between me and most of the other people around my age group is that I grew up as a libertarian. I grew up in a libertarian household. My father is the former NJLP chair. I grew up with activists around the table, and I've been talking about these ideas for a long time, way before the 9/11 thing ever happened. Any of these things came to light. And I've had a lot more success than I see a lot of my newer friends with helping people understand why freedom is better and why governments are just plain evil. And I think the reason is that I don't try to pick these things that are ridiculous. I try to find somewhere to identify with someone, to say, you know what, like the liberal believes in civil freedom. Let's start talking about what we agree on and say, okay, well, if that applies here, you know, let's carry that through and it can apply there. And keeping calm and pointing at people in the direction, finding things to agree on. Find things to agree on. Everyone can agree on something, but if you walk through this whole thing with, like, you know, trying to scare people to death, it's ridiculous. And by the way, I don't care how many times something you can prove, because I'll tell you what, I backed away from the 9/11 truthing. There are some definite things that I wonder, maybe it was an inside job, maybe. You know, but at the same time, or maybe it was just blowback. Either way, there's a lot to be learned from what happened in 9/11 as a libertarian, as to why our government's policies, this government's policies, suck. There's plenty to learn. The reason I've stayed away from it is, what does it matter? In the long run, what can we actually accomplish if we prove that? If we keep talking about the past, I mean, we're talking over a decade ago. This happened over a decade ago. There are current crazy evil shit going on in the government on a daily basis all throughout the world in all kinds of governments, and you're still obsessing over something that happened over 10 years ago. Why? Talk about things like, you know, show people, hey, did you hear that we're doing this? You know how many people don't even know when we're bombing other countries? Talk to those people. Ask them if they, hey, did you know that we're doing this? That's messed up. Yeah, and then, you know, they did this, that, and the other thing. Those are the conversations that I find change people's minds, not the ones where you just sit on the internet and go attack people like crazy. It's ridiculous. Okay, what am I on? Number 5? I think I'm on number 5. Number 5 is the, oh my God, the New World Order anti-Zionist crowd. Again, why do you have to paint yourself like an idiot? You know, there's a reason anarchists went to voluntarist as a word, okay? Because people don't even know what the friggin' heck anarchy is anymore. Anarchy is viewed in the minds of people as a state of post-apocalyptic, cutthroat survival mode. That's not what it is, but that's how the majority of the world views it. So the word has changed its meaning. Therefore, when a word has taken on a new meaning that is not beneficial to you, you drop it. You know, the anti-Zionist. You are painting yourself as an anti-Semite. You're not. I know you're not. Some of you are. Some of you are. But again, this whole New World Order, they're trying to take over, let's, like, honestly, you are never going to convince enough people in this generation that there's this hostile takeover of our lives that we're going to have a chance to do anything about it. It's not like we're going to get to go vote someone in that's going to change this. It's not like we're going to get a chance to depose the government The reality is, especially if you're a North American, specifically in the United States, the government has a militarized police force, one of the biggest in the world, has huge prisons all over the place, the capability for FEMA camps, and a history of abducting people they don't agree with. They did it to the communists. Oh, you went to a luncheon where people were talking about ideas that the government didn't feel comfortable with? Yeah, we're going to just whisk you away, and anyone we think you're associated with. Oh, you have slanty eyes, and we're at war with people with slanty eyes? We're going to just throw you in a detention camp. It's not like our government hasn't done it before. So you know you are labeling yourself already as libertarian. We're on every list. We're on the list. I don't care how many guns you store in your house, they're going to show up on your lawn with a tank, and if that doesn't work, they'll just drone your ass. I mean, really, we're not going to change the government. The only thing you can change are minds. So if you're going to change minds, let's talk about the principles of freedom, liberty, of not using force and aggression against people, that voting dictators into power does not make life better for anyone. These are the things that we should be talking about. Not, you know, if we, I don't know. I'm asking you, if you're one of these people who goes on and on and on about the New World Order and all of that stuff, I really would like to know in the comments what you're trying to accomplish, really. Other than sounding crazy. I mean, when you use phrases like that, those phrases have been associated with crazy. I'm going to have to wrap it up at number 5, and I think that's most of them because my husband is getting off of work, so I will cut out from there. Have a wonderful night or day.
Before you go, my family is chasing freedom elsewhere. If you've been paying attention, you know this country is little better than an all-out police state and understand why my family would make a run for it before the collapse. Or maybe knowing we get to live somewhere warm and affordable gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Either way, if it's in your heart to donate, please do. If it's in your heart but not your wallet, please share the link to help us out. And if you think we're crazy, selfish, lazy, fill in the blanks, feel free to troll in the comments section below. Live free.